And we are back to another episode, as promised, of the Real Podcast of Dallas. The little podcast that could. Because this is your podcast. This podcast belongs to you, the people. And this podcast, it's been a while. But like we promised, we would be back. And you asked the question, how if I wanted to hear this podcast,
that's all I ask of you.
How can I hear it? How can I hear this podcast? How are we gonna hear this podcast? And before we hear it, I gotta line this up really good. Yes. Oh, how can we hear the podcast? The Real Podcast of Dallas. Will you tell us, lady, ma'am, will you tell us?
The Real Podcast of Dallas. How can you hear the Real Podcast of Dallas?
Yes.
So, what you gotta do is you can Google the Real Podcast of Dallas, and it will give you the links.
Yes.
To access our podcast. You can hear us through Spotify.
Yes.
You can also hear us through Newsbreak, right? You can hear us through YouTube.
Yes.
You can hear us. You can actually access our links, and please correct me if I'm wrong, Leo, but you can also access our links through our Facebook account, correct?
Yes. We're just everywhere, Maria. And we've been gone for a while, but, we started recording. I started doing some recordings. Things have changed, but we are back, just as promised. And people are listening all over the world.
Yes, and I've been gone a little longer because I know there's been like a few recent episodes that I have not participated in, but I'm excited to be able to participate.
But you're there in spirit. You're there in spirit because there's been a lot of changes. Last week we went with Cindy. It's the bully, and turned out really well. Did you hear it?
I'm gonna have to. I know. I haven't listened to that one yet, but I do. I do plan to. My schedule has been super busy, so.
Yes, you have been busy.
And the place that I work at now, I don't have like good internet. It's really terrible a lot of times to even attempt to play it in school. Same
here, where I'm at, area 51 and a half. It's been, and for those of you that don't know, and it probably won't make a difference, but it is actually 4 a.m.
Yes.
We're doing the AM. So, so I guess we should catch up a little bit, Maria. One day we were sitting in the office, and Cindy went on vacation, and our life changed.
Yeah, right? I feel like it just kind of changed overnight. Like none of us were planning it. Things just kind of happened for us. Like things happened for you, things happened for me, and I think what was really sad is that Cindy was not there.
Yes.
Like she was not present for us to go through the process of I've got to start something new, really, really soon, and you're not here, but it was never done with the intention of just like leaving. I don't think neither you or I were like, oh, we're going to leave this place and we're not going to do this anymore. But things happen. And I do believe things happen for reasons, to be quite honest with you. I'm in a good place. I know you're in a good place. I will always miss our little office, and I will always miss our podcast setting. I think that's what I'm missing right now. Like, I'm podcasting because you're telling me we're podcasting, but I don't have any of my equipment. I can't take a picture of the microphone I'm using, but we're here.
But here's what we're gonna do. I'm doing some research, and we're gonna get some equipment so that you guys can hear the music, because that's one thing that we're lacking. You can't hear the music, but you will hear it when we play it. And I'm doing the best I can on this side. But it's not the same without you. I did 2 episodes, the Alone episode and the best of, and it just isn't the same. I told Cindy, I can't do this without you guys. So I'm glad that you are back. And
I really enjoyed the episode you did with Cindy. I mean, I was in tears with that episode, and I really wish I had been there with you guys, like on the phone doing it. I was like, when did they do this? And how come nobody called me? But I also know that you guys did it at a time where I was at work, and my job now is like very strict and very demanding. So it wasn't like I chose not to be there.
Yes. No, we understood. It's just, the more shows we do, the more, people listen. In fact, as soon as we started doing them again, the listenership went up because it had gone really down. And where I'm at, I'm introducing people to the show, The Real Podcaster Dallas. I'm promoting it as much as I can. And, I'm getting a lot of good feedback from you guys. So it's been a good thing, and I think we have a good thing here, and we're going to keep it going. I tell you guys all the time, this is going to be our bread and butter.
Yeah.
We will be doing this. I mean, one day we'll have an office where we all go into again. And we'll have people bring us lunch.
And lunch and food and snacks and dessert and coffee.
That's
and,
right. Yes. And we'll take vacations and but so it's been a big change, and you actually the stars aligned for you.
The stars aligned for me? You think so?
I think so. I think the stars aligned for both of us, but I think for you a lot because you weren't looking. Both of us, we weren't looking. And
we weren't. That's why it's so weird.
Yeah, and I tell Cindy, when I talked to her, I was like, you told us that if something comes up, take it, and I was like, that's like she had a premonition. But the best thing of working together was this podcast. And that was the hardest. I was like, we got to keep it going. We have to. And where I'm at, it's an isolated place, and I actually used it for myself to keep myself, from being alone, and it really helped out. And I was like, okay, we've got to keep doing this thing. It's wonderful. One of my daughters yesterday or a few days ago was telling me she was listening to it. Fear. She said the one on fear. It really helped her out.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
So she's going through something, and she's like, I listened to that one, and it helped out a lot. So it is helping. So what we do is help the mind. And this is the Real Podcast of Dallas. So do you want to talk a little bit about, your experience or how much? Because, we kind of keep things private in a sense, but
I know we do.
So you tell me, I mean, how far you want to go, and if there's anybody you want to say hi to, or
I want to say hi to all my Griner people, all our Griner students. Yes. I miss Chief Rosenborough. I miss Sergeant Davis. I miss all of them. Yes. I really do.
In fact, they texted me and said that they really missed us.
Oh, I really do miss them. I think for me, Griner was one of the hardest because, throughout COVID, I feel like Griner was what kept us going, kept us so busy during our days at the office.
Yes.
And the kids were always ready for us. So, when you know that the kids are expecting you to be there, I think that's the hardest, when you kind of have to pull away, not because you necessarily want to, because I think for both of us, our hearts have always been, with the students that we work with.
Yes.
And we pulled away to continue working with students, or to continue working with youth. I know you're in a whole different location, but I'm at a school setting, and it's just kind of I think it helps out a lot, because it's not like I left to go work something completely different.
Right.
I'm still in the field of working with youth and students, and trying to help them.
Having an impact.
Yes.
Having an impact. I'm going to bring it up now, and, you can't yell at me for doing it. But we've talked about this topic, and I'm going to bring it up now. Diamonds.
Yes.
And I'll bring it up now because I've told, And I want people that are listening to understand that there's certain people that are just dedicated to what they do, and no matter what it is, and they're outstanding at it, and they get no credit for it. I call them diamonds. And in the field that we're in, I've met a lot of diamonds, some that are gone now and some of them that are still there. And there's very few, you can count them on your hand. In the field that we're in, I mean, there's so much money that goes in it. And you would think that there would be some big changes, but it's because people are people, and there's just certain people that go that extra mile, the ones that stay later, the ones that will do things, get criticized by other people.
Because you're doing it right.
Exactly. And you're persistent.
Yeah.
And you're one of those. And you and I have talked about that, and we're like, hey, we're diamonds.
And we sure are. Yes, I know I am.
Yes. and diamonds, because diamonds come out of coal. They come out of coal. Coal creates diamonds. And I always felt that, there's people, I've never received awards. Neither have you. No recognition. Did we ask for it? No, I don't care. I tell you, you remember when we were at Griner and the kids gave us that recognition?
Yes. I do remember.
That was an award for me. That was like winning the biggest award. It's when they're recognizing you and they're saying, hey, can I talk to you, or can you sign an autograph?
I know.
Yeah, so.
Or when or I remember, I will never forget when they were just kind of like looking at us funny and talking about us and pointing at us, and then they like slowly, come up to us and they're like, "Are y'all the ones from podcast?"
Right.
The real podcast of Dallas, and we were like, "Yes, it's us."
Yes. So go ahead.
And they were so excited, that they, I guess for them, it just kind of seemed like their faces just showed to be so unbelievable that they had us like right there.
Right. And, I think that, somehow arrange it so maybe we can do something live there with the kids.
Yes.
So, hopefully that could be done. And, it was very hard. But, when you have diamonds, we survive, and the opportunity you were given was amazing, and I'm very happy about it and proud. And then I was taken completely out of the, I have been away from the family for a long time, and it's been very difficult, but as a diamond, I'm able to bring in a talent that I guess we've been working on for years. Do you feel the same way?
I do. I feel like
you were preparing, like you were in this education,
Well, I feel like a lot of my life experiences,
right.
like from my childhood to, even a grown up, it's what really like molded me and given me the experience, and I feel like the skills and tools that I need to reach into these students that I'm actually working with, based on their needs. A lot of the stories that I hear from them, it's like, oh my God, that sounds like me. Like, I went through very similar things like they did,
Right.
So I also do, I've always felt like in order to be able to help, to help youth, it's like you have to be able to connect.
Right.
And the experiences is usually what will help you connect. And by experiences, I don't necessarily mean that you have to have had that type of childhood, but you have to be able to connect with the experience, like be willing to want to understand what that experience is or that experience was, to connect with them. I think for me, and I know for you, it's one of those things where, wow, we actually experienced it.
Yes. And one thing I wanted to add was that, see, I can hear what you're saying and I feel what you're saying, but there's a lot of people that don't do that,